Think about the last time you saw a celebrity or like a massive brand try to launch a sustainable fashion line. You probably know the exact playbook I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Usually very earnest.
Right. There's always this heavily branded, eco-friendly logo, a very serious press release, and, a whole lot of very loud, maybe slightly preachy messaging about saving the planet.
It usually feels highly performative.
Yeah.
Like the entire point of the garment is that you're supposed to look at it and immediately recognize the ethical sacrifice that was made. It's fashion as a billboard for morality.
Which, let's be honest, can feel a little crunchy. It's super visible and almost guilt-driven. But lately, and this is why we're here today, if you've been watching the highest echelons of pop culture, that entire playbook is just being completely thrown out the window.
Yeah, totally discarded.
Exactly. We're entering an era of what you could call quiet sustainability, where, saving the planet is just seamlessly baked into the background of having impeccable taste.
Right.
So welcome to today's Deep Dive Learner. We are so glad you're joining us to explore this massive cultural shift in how we consume fashion and culture. And to decode all of this, we're using the ultimate modern case study. We're talking about pop superstar Harry Styles.
He really is the perfect lens for this shift. The way he navigates aesthetics right now tells us so much about where the broader consumer market is heading.
And we have an incredible stack of sources for you today to back this up. We're looking at a fantastic article from Ethos on Fashion's New Normal, the McKinsey State of Fashion 2026 report.
Such a good report.
Seriously. Plus, we've got a Macmillan Doolittle retail analysis, an essay on modern pop production from the Hit Factory, and these fascinating academic papers on playful hybrid masculinity and fandom politics.
It's a lot of ground to cover.
It is. So let's jump right into the visual catalyst that sparked this whole conversation. Picture the cover of his upcoming March 2026 album, Kiss All the Time. Disco, occasionally.
I love that title, by the way.
Right. So good. But when this imagery dropped recently, it was a totally clear departure from the sequins and feather boas of his previous eras. On the cover, he's wearing this incredible, almost rustic knitted tee by a designer named Patrick Carroll.
But the material is what matters there.
Exactly. The detail that caught my eye is that it's made entirely from leftover scrap yarns. And he paired it with vintage jeans sourced from the vintage showroom over in London.
And that aesthetic actually continued straight through the whole promotional tour.
Oh, completely. Like in the press rollout, he was photographed wearing an Archival Miu Miu jumper from their Spring-Summer 2000 collection, and a Prada tie that his stylist literally just hunted down on eBay.
Amazing.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because it feels like it's like a master chef sneaking vegetables into a decadent meal. He's serving us sustainability, but he hasn't put it on the menu.
What's fascinating here is that the power of that omission cannot be overstated. By not putting it on the menu, he completely changes the consumer's relationship to the clothes.
Yeah, because there's no lecture.
Exactly. There's no accompanying press release patting himself on the back for being ethical. He's presenting upcycled and vintage clothes to, 46 million Instagram followers purely as aesthetic choices.
He's just saying, look at this cool outfit.
Precisely. And by doing that, he establishes the core of quiet sustainability. He makes ethical fashion the default setting rather than the exception. The focus is entirely on style, personal taste, and referencing fashion history.
Not an overt ethical statement.
Right. The sustainability is just a byproduct of having great taste.
Which is inherently cool. It makes you completely forget you're looking at, recycled yarn and secondhand pants. But as much as I love talking about a pop star's wardrobe, this visual shift isn't happening in a vacuum. It's actually mirroring a massive economic shift happening in all of our closets right now.
Yeah, if you look at the new McKinsey State of Fashion 2026 report, the data they pulled alongside the business of fashion strongly supports this.
Oh, definitely.
They're forecasting that the resale market is going to grow 2 to 3 times faster than the primary apparel market through 2027.
Wait, 2 to 3 times faster?
Yes. Secondhand isn't just an alternative anymore. It's actively outperforming new clothes.
But wait, I have to push back on this a little bit. Let's look at the reality of the economy right now. Everything is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Primary market prices have skyrocketed. So are people actually trying to be sustainable, or are they just looking for a deal on eBay because they can't afford a brand new Prada tie?
That's a highly relevant distinction, and, you're not wrong to ask that. Consumers are absolutely hunting for value as primary market prices rise. The McKinsey report openly acknowledges that.
Okay, so it's partly just necessity.
It is. But if we want to understand the true environmental impact, We have to look past the purchasing motive and look at the actual mechanics of it. We need to look at the data from WRAP.
That's the UK-based sustainability organization, right?
Exactly. Their environmental data shows us that the most influential lever we have for reducing fashion's environmental impact isn't just using organic cotton, it's the use phase.
The use phase. So literally just how long a piece of clothing stays in active rotation.
Yes. The manufacturing process of any garment, growing the cotton, dyeing the fabric, shipping it across the world, that requires a massive upfront cost of carbon and water.
Right. The damage is already done before you even buy it.
Precisely. But extending the active life of a garment by just 9 months reduces its overall carbon, water, and waste footprints by 20 to 30%.
Wait, really? Just 9 extra months of wearing a jacket cuts its environmental impact by nearly a third.
It's staggering, isn't it? And that's where the celebrity influence becomes so vital.
Because they're the ones setting the trends for how long we keep things.
Exactly. When Harry Styles is photographed at airports carrying the exact same Mulberry Hold-All he's owned since 2011.
Oh, I've seen those photos.
Right. Or when he wears his blue 2025 chore coat repeatedly in different paparazzi shots, he's signaling that longevity and cost per wear are the ultimate modern flex.
He's normalizing outfit repeating.
Yes. So the motivation for the everyday consumer might start as economic, but the mechanism of extending that jacket's use phase results in real sustainability.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. If the economics of resale are booming, how is this reshaping our cultural status symbols? We're seeing a shift where authorship is replacing ethics.
If we connect this to the bigger picture.
Yeah, like think about the other celebrity examples from the sources. Kate Blanchett wearing Stella McCartney's plant-based feathers.
Oh, that was a huge moment.
Right, and Kylie Jenner repairing a vintage Versace for an award show instead of getting a new one. Or Zendaya's whole run of archival red carpet looks.
The cultural signal has completely changed. Wearing these pieces is no longer about signaling, I am an ethical, good person.
It's a total pivot.
It is. Instead, it signals, I have superior taste, deep fashion knowledge, and true authorship over my identity. It moves conscious consumption away from being a guilt-driven chore.
Yes. It turns it into an act of creative curation. You want the rare archival piece because it shows you know your stuff.
And that ethos connects perfectly to his broader empire. Let's look at retail. His beauty brand, Pleasing, recently opened that Astra Milk Bar pop-up in Chicago.
Oh, the details on that from the Macmillan Doolittle analysis were so cool.
Very cool. It focused on immersive design and gender-neutral products with sustainability baked in, but notably without plastering his face everywhere.
That's the crazy part to me. You walk in and you wouldn't necessarily know a massive global pop star owns it.
Because the curation is the point, not the celebrity.
Yeah.
And we see the exact same thing in his music, actually.
You're talking about the essay from the Hit Factory, right?
Yes. Styles approaches massive stadium-level pop music with the intimate, trusted friend dynamic of a small indie rock band.
Right, working with a super tight circle, like Kid Harpoon and Tyler Johnson.
Exactly. Across his fashion, his beauty brand, and his music, he uses massive scale to elevate intimate, carefully curated choices.
It's all about authorship. But, this curation of identity naturally leads to breaking the quote-unquote rules of what men are supposed to wear.
Which is a whole other layer of subversion.
Totally. Let's talk about that famous 2020 Vogue cover where he wore the blue Gucci dress. That garment literally ended up in the Victoria and Albert Museum.
A huge cultural milestone.
But it also caused a massive uproar. The Highlander article we pulled objectively breaks down the societal panic over men wearing dresses, but also the accusations of queerbaiting from the other side.
It was a very polarizing moment. And this is where the academic paper by James Whittaker is so helpful. He writes about playfully performing hybrid masculinity.
Playfully being the key word there, right?
Exactly. Whittaker explains that unlike the rigid, traditional bounds of menswear, Styles engages in play. He incorporates marginalized aesthetic skirts, pearl necklaces, nail polish, floral J.W. Anderson cardigans.
Yeah, but he does it without, a heavy, serious agenda.
Right. He's not standing at a podium making a speech about it.
It's like he's treating gendered fashion the exact same way he treats vintage clothes. It's all just a giant dress-up box.
That's a great analogy.
Right. It's not a rigid political statement. It's just for the joy of looking and feeling good.
I completely agree. And that playful lack of intention is actually what makes it so subversive. By not acting like he's making a profound political statement, he normalizes the blurring of these gender lines.
He just makes the radical seem completely everyday.
Yes. But, this raises an important question.
Let me guess.
The fandom.
Exactly. How does a pop star who relies on quiet subversion interact with a fandom that lives in an era of extremely loud politics?
That is the big tension. And to understand it, we dove into the academic research by Alison Gross, which was published in Transformative Works in Cultures.
Really fascinating study.
So interesting. Gross explains how fans view styles as what sociologist Ernesto Laclau calls an empty signifier. Basically, because he avoids loud political declarations, fans project their own values onto him. So, what does this all mean for the fandom dynamic?
Well, it means fans aren't just passively accepting his style, they are actively trying to shape his politics. The facts in the research track this perfectly. Fans started bringing Black Lives Matter signs and LGBTQ plus pride flags to his concerts.
Right, trying to hand them to him on stage?
Yes, they were demanding he explicitly verbalize his support rather than just wearing his treat people with kindness merch and leaving it at that. They wanted him on the record.
And this is where you see that tug of war so clearly. Impartially analyzing this, on one hand, you have a star whose entire cultural power rests in quietness.
Making sustainability and gender fluidity feel natural and unspoken.
Exactly, completely baked in. But on the other hand, you have a highly mobilized, politically aware generation of fans who demand loud, explicit representation.
It's wild. It's a celebrity trying to use subtle aesthetic shifts to change culture up against a public that demands overt, undeniable political alignment.
It really is a clash of two very different ways of changing the world.
Okay, we have covered so much today. Just to summarize the journey for you, learner, we've traveled from a Patrick Carroll upcycled tee on an album cover through the booming economics of the resale market.
The WRAP data on the use phase.
Yes, into the academic theories of hybrid masculinity, and finally to the political demands of modern fandom.
And if there's a final takeaway here, it's that the true genius of the quiet sustainability movement is that it doesn't ask consumers to sacrifice style for ethics.
It just makes the ethical choice the most desirable one.
Right, it makes it the most culturally relevant choice you can make.
But I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over. If authorship and taste are replacing ethics as the ultimate status symbol, what happens when fast fashion brands learn to perfectly mimic the vintage, upcycled aesthetic?
Oh, that's a chilling thought.
Right, like, will we still value the garment's actual history and sustainability, or will the sheer illusion of taste be enough for us to buy it?
That is going to be the next big battleground in fashion.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, stay curious, and we'll catch you next time.